Hello and welcome to another video by Jitterbit. Today we will showcase how Jitterbit Harmony will enable you to make better business decisions leveraging artificial intelligence, a technology that not too long ago was considered to be out of reach for most enterprises. Before we start, let's answer a couple of rather simple questions. First, what is artificial intelligence? Historically, when a piece of software was developed, the developers had to think about as many different permutations that a user would interact with the software so that they can address all the different scenarios required by those users. In other words, anything intelligent the piece of software would provide had to be accounted for and programmed during the development of that application. You can see how that limits the value of the application as business conditions change and users want additional information from the application that nobody had thought about when the application was originally developed. This is how once a smart application turned into a dumb application. What if we can make our applications do things that require intelligence when then done by human beings? What if we can make our applications smarter by developing a program that can learn from experience and by finding patterns in data? That is artificial intelligence. Many powerful and resourceful companies like IBM began developing tools that cost millions and billions of dollars, developing expensive software installed on expensive hardware managed by expensive admins to provide intelligence at a very high premium to those who could afford it. IBM did it successfully. However, these technologies never became available to many companies who desperately needed it. With the emergence of cloud computing and APIs, software companies build their software around a simple concept of making what we call artificial intelligence available and affordable to everyone. This is when AI became mainstream. With the emergence of such technologies, now everyone can build intelligence into their applications to better serve their customers, avoid inventory nightmare, predict buyer behaviors, do preventive service maintenance before elevators malfunction. To answer the second question, these are just a few examples, but you can see why AI is so important and why it's evolving in such a fast pace. It's changing the way we do business. One of the most positive outcomes of adoption of cloud is that now everyone has access to artificial intelligence. Not only it is only an API call away, but it now costs a fraction of a penny to use it. In other words, it's available to you today. Finally, now that you have access to AI, how do you build it into your enterprise applications? Well, one choice is to hire a bunch of developers to write thousands and thousands of lines of code to first create an integration between the required applications. Once you have solved the integration problem, you hire even more developers to code your APIs. Alternatively, you can choose a single cloud platform, namely Jitterbit Harmony, to do all of this very quickly with wizard-driven and low-code approach. And when I say all of this, I mean integrate on-prem and cloud applications, create, expose, publish APIs using a single platform. In this video, we will cover how we can leverage Salesforce Einstein, IBM's Watson, and Google's AI engine to predict customer sentiments. We're going to do this in two approaches, one through a web browser, through a web page, and then we're going to follow that up by showing to you how you can infuse this artificial intelligence, all three of these platforms, within Salesforce. So a natural question is, why run sentiment analysis on three different AI platforms? Well, not all AI solutions are created equally, and more importantly, the results can vary. We are using three different AI engines today because we want to show how quickly you can swap one engine with another. After all, to Jitterbit, it's just an API call. We're also using sentiment analysis in Salesforce so that you can track and report on customer mood and sentiment as their issues get resolved by customer reps. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to walk you through a sentiment analysis page that we've created. And the idea is that we would enter a comment and get sentiment analysis based on 3 separate AI engines. One is Salesforce Einstein, IBM Watson, and Google AI. So let's go ahead and actually do a sentiment analysis on the following text. Basically, we're saying this is the worst experience, just terrible. So the idea is that we're going to run this specific comment on these 3 sentiment analysis engines. Behind the scene, what we're doing is we're sending this type of interaction to Jitterbit Harmony to make sure that we call appropriate APIs and they get the results back and displayed back on this page. So based on the analysis that was done on this text, this is the results that we got from Einstein. So as you can see, majority of it's pretty heavily towards being a negative response or a negative comment. With IBM Watson, we can get information about angry, disgusted, or fear, plus other types of sentiments. So as you can see, Watson is telling us also very vividly that the comments that are being made here has negative sentiment. And obviously AI provided by Google also gives us a pretty negative score when it comes to that specific comment. So that's outside of an application how we can use Jitterbit Harmony to do AI type of scenarios where we are getting sentiment of a specific comment. Now let's look at something that happens in a Salesforce environment. This is an existing case and a case that was opened by a customer. What we're going to do is we're going to start adding case comments to this specific case. So let's put the same comment that we just put on there as a comment in our case. What it's doing behind the scene is once I save this comment, it's going through Jitterbit Harmony to call those 3 AI engines and returning the results back to the comment. So if I refresh my page, now you can see added to the comment is the sentiment that are coming from multiple places. Again, this is the information provided by Einstein, by Watson, and Google AI, which is same as what we got on the other screen. So this is how you can see how you can build intelligence into your interactions with your customers automatically. And behind the scene, what we're doing is we're calling Salesforce's outbound messages to call our APIs that we built in Jitterbit Harmony to get the results back automatically, almost instantaneously into Salesforce. So now as a customer service representative, I can see the tone of this specific case. Now it's my job to start interacting with our customer to make sure that we change this mood from being very negative to being more positive and more delightful. So you're hoping that if you create another, if a customer creates another case comment that says, thank you for your help, you are great, we can easily see how the sentiment of your customers change. Again, this takes about a second or so for us to send the information to the engines and get the results back. So let me go ahead and refresh. And now you can see now we are getting more positive, more happy scores. You can track this interactions with your reps to make sure that you're changing the mood of our customers to more being positive. So now let's go back and see how this was actually built using Jitterbit Harmony. First, let's go ahead and look at the page you saw earlier where we entered the text into a text box. Basically, we had an HTML interface that built up that page that you saw with the icons, and we had it go through 3 separate sentiment analysis engine: Watson, Google, and Einstein. And as you can see, a simple interaction that we've created really doesn't require a whole lot of coding. It doesn't require a whole lot of processes. We're going down three paths with three different engines. And to us, sentiment analysis is just API calls. So if I look at Google sentiment analysis, we're just calling that URL, passing it some information, including authorization token, and that's all there is to it. This is sentiment analysis is just another API call to us, and same with Watson. Let's look at the Salesforce scenario. In Salesforce scenario, when a case is actually saved and a comment is actually made, an outbound message is called to our platform. We accept that call. We massage the data. We have it first go through Einstein. We get the information we need. Then we send it to Watson. We get the scoring that we need from Watson. And then we send it to Google. And in return, we're going to go out and actually update Salesforce with our analysis of the three engines. And here we've built also the ability to say, okay, if a sentiment score is 90% negative, I also want to be able to get an SMS message. And obviously you didn't see that on my phone. I did get a message indicating that a case comment was made with a very, very negative sentiment. So that could be a notification that gets sent to an account manager or a supervisor that they need to pay more attention to this case to make sure that you change the mood of a customer that opened up a case from negative to more positive through some sort of interaction with the support rep. And then obviously on the last bar, we're sending information back to Salesforce saying the outbound message that you called, we got it, we received it, everything's okay, and you see the results back in Salesforce. So this is a very quick overview of how we can ingest or how we can leverage AI and sentiment analysis, translations, any API calls that are out there that are available through many vendors. You can build it very quickly within Jitterbit. We hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time.